And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Fantasy Realms. I took a look at this several years ago, but this is a new reprint of the game, and my opinion of this game has gone up considerably since I first played it, although I really liked it when I first played it. So, spoiler, I really like this game. Fantasy Realm is a game that's simply a deck of 53 cards. You get to keep 7 of them, and you want the highest score possible. A lot of people skip it because, let's admit it, the name is super boring. Fantasy Realms. And it is just a numbers game. The fantasy theme's barely there, and the first box was really boring looking. This one looks a little better, but it still may be one that you skip on by. Don't! Fantastic little game. Let's take a look. Fantasy Realms is made up of a deck of 53 different cards. There are 10 suits, 5 cards of each suits. We have weather, army, flame, weapons, wizards, leaders, artifacts, beast, land, flood, and then there are 3 wild cards in there. Now you're trying to collect a handful of 7 cards, and that's what you're going to do at the end of the game. You're going to score your 7 cards. Each card has a base score, so you can see the Basilisk here is 35, while the Mirage is 0. But they all have bonuses and penalties. For example, the Forge here gives a +9 for each weapon and artifact that you have. The Army has a penalty, it's -2 for each other army you have. The Whirlwind says it's +40, but you need to have exactly the Rainstorm or Blizzard, the Rainstorm, and the Blizzard or Great Flood. There's also things that say blank, like this penalty here says blanks all armies, leaders, and other beasts. So if I took this one, it will blank this card, which means this card essentially has no text on it. The card is worthless, and the whole card is worthless. So blanking is pretty deadly, and some cards are blanked, like this War Dirigible is blanked unless it has at least 1 army, and if there's any weather, it's blanked, period. The wilds, like they duplicate things, but like for example, this one doesn't duplicate the bonus. And then like I said, every card is different. So here's some more weather cards. And each card has like a different style on it. So leaders, for example, work well together. This one here gives bonuses for beasts. Lands also tend to work together, although this one, for example, gives a bonus to wizards. Gameplay is really simple. Everyone's going to be given a starting hand of 7 cards. And on your turn, you are either going to draw the top card from the deck or a discard. So after you draw it, you'll then discard a card. But as cards are discarded, they're discarded like this, essentially, because when you take a discard, you can take any discard that's out there. Not only that, when there are 10 cards here, that immediately ends the game, and then you will score your hand. The score sheet actually shows you score each card. How does 1 score? How does 2 score? And then there's a way to score an 8th card in this game. And then you add together your total, and whoever has the most points is the winner. The rules are pretty simple, and I mean, once you understand how blanks and penalties work, it actually takes about as much time to score almost as it does play. I like the artwork. The original artwork was okay. The box cover was not interesting at all. They now have a new box cover. But there's one thing here, folks, I do want to point out to you if you're watching. So some of you may be put off by the fact that, hey, scoring this game can be a pain in the neck. But if you use the WizKids app, there's a Fantasy Realm section. It's a free app, and you can start scoring. And you can just say, I have this card, and bring this card down. And say, oh, I have the Hydra, and bring that card down. And I have the World Tree and this one. And it automatically keeps track of your score here. So as you collect different cards, it will score for you. So this only works, as far as I know, for the base game at the moment. And you just pick the card you're going to duplicate, but it does make scoring really simple. Folks, I cannot express enough how this is one of the best fillers that's ever been made. A little game you play between other games to fill the time. It's so easy. I think it scales well, though I think it plays best with smaller numbers. In fact, it's a really good 3-player game. As you sit there, and sometimes you'll draw a card off the top of the deck. Sometimes you see the specific card out there you want. There is a card in the set that it says if you have these 3 exact cards, 100 extra points. And you think, well, that's the best thing. Not necessarily. You're always trying to score. You could just sit there and play like a solo thing of it, but just try to score. I'll try to beat my score from the last game. And there's probably someone out there who knows the highest possible score. I talked to someone at WizKids one time, and I think they told me what it was. It was in the 200s, I think. But you're usually not going to score that high, and you're usually going to sit there and go, what am I going to do here? These cards work together. These cards work together. This one cancels this one, so I need to get rid of one of them. What am I going to do? And it's tactical because you're looking at what the other people discard, but it's fast. It seriously takes almost as much time to score as it does to play, but I don't care. It's just so entertaining. The cards are so different and so many unique combinations. 53 cards give way more fun than they have any right to do. Now, there is a little expansion for the game, which I'm also reviewing today. So this expansion adds even more flavor, but even without that expansion, and I don't think the expansion is necessary. The expansion is very, very good. I really like it. But I think this base game is just fantastic on its own. It's not going to be for everybody, but this idea of just collecting cards and grabbing from the discard or taking from the top, it's a simple concept, but the way all the cards intermingle, I have yet to play a game where I've done the same thing twice. Lots of fun, and one of the best bang for your buck games in existence, Fantasy Realms. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent.